My presentation today is going to be on a building in downtown Chicago called the Rookery. The Rookery is an office building that was built by Daniel Burnham and John Root. These two were also known as Burnham and Root. When they were commissioned to build this and design it, they made it a goal of theirs to make a bold architectural statement. Many of the interior and exterior features come from the Art Deco movement, and many ornamentation also comes from the Art Nouveau movement. In this building, I saw the Art Deco movement a lot. The Art Deco movement actually stemmed from Cubism. The artist that made Cubism was popular was Pablo Picasso, and I chose a piece of his called The Portrait of Daniel Henry Kahnweiler to show how Cubism was formed. Cubism used lots of geometric shapes, and it took them and created a pure level of abstraction. In this painting, you can see that Pablo Picasso was trying to show a three-dimensional person, and he used a two-dimensional plane to show all aspects of him. Moving on back to the Rookery, the building in itself, you won't see much cubism, but I wanted to tell you about the history of its inspiration. This building was made during a very transitional era. It embodies and transitions from older technologies and building strategies to newer ones. I believe that Burnham and Root and Frank Lloyd Wright, who later on remodeled the building, seek to advance the new style of Art Deco while simultaneously creating a new form of architecture that suited the functionality of urban office buildings. During the Art Deco movement, a couple other buildings were made, and I chose two to show some of the Art Deco characteristics. This is the Chrysler Building in New York. You can see the geometric orientation, and you can see how it has a sleek, linear appearance. This is the Chicago Board of Trade Building, where it also has lots of geometric straight lines. And if you look up closer pictures, you can also see some low relief decorative panels around the windows. This is the entranceway of the Rookery. Zooming in, you can see that there is lots of low relief decorative panels, and that is one of the characteristics from the Art Deco movement. The Art Deco movement was actually one of the first American architectural styles to look forward rather than to base itself on the past. Some of the details include exotic motifs or artistic motifs, and it also shows zigzags and chevrons and lots of interesting ornamentation. This is the top of the building where you can see more details. Moving on to the interior, here's the staircase. And you can actually see that there are some flowers along the railing. For me, I thought it was a little strange because there weren't very many natural-based lines and designs. But when I looked closer, the flowers are actually created from straight lines. And that is definitely a huge characteristic of Art Deco. A little bit more, you can see some carvings and low relief decorative panels. You can also see lots of ornamentation and paneling. In 1931, actually, a man named William Drummond incorporated Art Deco aesthetic in the lobby. For example, he had replaced Frank Wright's geometric cages with solid bronze doors etched with birds. Moving on from the ornamentation and how it relates to Art Deco, I wanted to talk a lot about how this building functions. I wanted to talk about the innovative transitional period in which during Burnham and Root designed this building. The foundation, for example, was seen as very innovative. People called it a quote-unquote floating foundation. They called it this because it was made out of a network of iron rails and structural beams encased in concrete. These rails and beams actually held the entire weight of the building. Along with the foundation, I wanted to talk about the building's light well. In this photo here, you can see lots of natural light. I liked it because you don't really see any artificial light showing down on this. It's all natural. It all comes from the sun. That is because this building is very unique in having a central light well. This central light well brings in light, and it actually has a glass ceiling in the first 2 floors, where you can see in the previous photo right here. And that shines all of the natural light through the well into the lower shops and into the offices on the upper floors. The glass brick mezzanine floor also allows light into the shops. The open center doesn't just bring light, it also opens and circulates the air. Natural light and air were 2 challenges of office buildings at this time, so it was very modern and very innovative for Burnham and Root to create this. I believe that the Rookery was very successful and it was very bold. Its historical decorative elements create a contemporary office building that amazed lots of people. I believe it was built to reflect the height of luxury in commercial design, and many people at the time it was built boasted that it was the most amazing office building in the world. It has been one of Chicago's most iconic buildings, and I believe because it was such a transitional structure, it included things like passenger elevators, fireproof construction, and electric lighting that not a lot of buildings had, especially because many buildings had burned down from the Great Chicago Fire. And that was my presentation on the Rookery. Here are some of the main sources that I had used, and I had learned more about Art Deco and Cubism from our